You're watching All 24 News World News program broadcasting to you live from the capital Algiers, and up next are tonight's top stories. Algeria battles forest fires across several provinces. Most blazes now under control and no injuries reported according to authorities. In Gaza, a new Zionist strike kills one person as Russia proposes a UN force and the UNRWA warns millions of refugees are threatened by funding shortages. And at the UN, a new fact-finding mission for Sudan's Al-Fashir, where atrocities are called especially severe, while Burhan announces a general mobilization. Welcome back. The Algerian Civil Protection SAS teams have put out several fires reported overnight across 10 provinces, while crews remain on the ground tackling the rest with reinforced equipment and personnel. From the 29 forest fires recorded in Tipaza, Algiers, Blida, Bijaya, Tizi Ouzou, Shlif, Mediyya, Ain Difla, Jijil, and Tlemcen, officials confirmed that 20 were extinguished by 10 a.m. on Friday. Work continues to contain the remaining 9. In an earlier statement to All 24 News, the Deputy Director of Statistics and Media at the Algerian Civil Protection, Nassim Barnawi, said they're getting the fires in Tipaza province under control. The agency has thrown all its personnel and equipment into the effort.
The fire control operation has begun, including cooling, trimming, and removing fire debris. The extinguishing process is not yet complete, and 354 civil protection personnel have been mobilized from the Tipaza Civil Protection Department, as well as from the central provinces Algiers, Boumerdas, Blida, Mediyya, Ghilizan, and Ain Difla. Additionally, 97 firefighting vehicles of various sizes are deployed. Forestry Department personnel have also been on the ground since the beginning of the operation. Local authorities have provided water trucks, and security and military personnel are also involved.
The official confirmed that protecting homes was a top priority. That focus, he said, is what kept the flames from reaching residential areas.
Regarding securing citizens' housing, one of the priorities of yesterday's intervention was the implementation of a strategy and the security brigade specifically deployed to protect residential complexes, followed by the evacuation process. Thankfully, the fire did not reach the residential complexes as the brigades exerted every effort and was successful. Now, almost all the areas that were threatened, whether they were isolated or reinforced by mobile units and firefighting equipment, are clear of residents, so there is no need to fear for the residential complexes.
After the fires in Tipaza, west of Algiers, officials and residents mobilized together to continue hotspots with conscripts and volunteers supporting crews in a display of national unity and shared responsibility. Mariam Zian has the full story.
Before the flames could advance, swift coordinated firefighting efforts prevented them from spreading beyond the affected regions. This is Tipaza, the hardest hit province, and the epicenter of a national firefighting effort that proved its effectiveness.
Efforts are ongoing, with high-level coordination between civil protection at the command center and the National People's Army, especially as they receive updated geographic information. So far, 2 helicopters have proven effective, and ground crews with fire trucks are continuing the extinguishing operations.
The scale of mobilization reflects the country's determination to prevent the flames from gaining the upper hand.
When it comes to the ongoing efforts, we need to recognize that forest fire management in recent years has taken a new positive direction. It has become one of the priorities of the President of the Republic, and this in itself reflects the level of effort and the material and moral resources that the Algerian state has committed to this cause.
The flames, the heat, and the strong winds did not stop public solidarity from taking action.
We have a sense of solidarity and patriotism. Seeing a forest engulfed by fire is heartbreaking.
We have to stand by them during hard times. It's a duty. We have to stand by our brothers as one man.
It's an honor for us to be here. It is our homeland and we must preserve it and do whatever it takes for it.
Through determination, coordination, and national solidarity, Algeria has once again demonstrated its capacity to confront natural disasters with unity and resolve, protecting forests, communities, and the environment from devastating loss.
The Health Ministry says no one has been injured by the fires in Tipaza so far. As a precaution, all medical facilities in the province are on a high alert. A special task force is also in place to monitor and treat people affected by smoke inhalation, offering both medical and psychological support. Tipaza's governor, Mohammed Amin bin Chouila, said strong winds helped ignite additional fires in the area, prompting local authorities to take precautionary measures, including evacuating residents to public facilities. He denied any material losses and confirmed that a joint ministerial committee has been formed to assess damage and support those affected.
The weather conditions contributed to the outbreak of other fires in the Muslimun and Hajrat al-Nas areas, as well as other regions. This did not prevent us from taking precautionary measures by directing citizens and residents from the at-risk areas to educational institutions, sports halls, and other facilities where they were provided with shelter to avoid the imminent danger. In addition, and under the supervision of the Director General of Civil Defense, several mobile teams from various provinces were deployed to assist us in extinguishing these fires. To date, no casualties or injured have been reported, nor have any fires, building collapses, or complete destruction by fire been recorded. Further measures will be implemented in the coming days through the formation of a joint ministerial committee to enumerate those affected, assess the damage, and provide support to this group, God willing.
The Director General of the Algerian Forest says his teams helped evacuate families in danger and worked alongside civil protection to fight the blazes in Tipaza. He also revealed that an official assessment of the damage to vegetation cover will begin soon.
The most important operation we carried out, in conjunction with all partners, was the evacuation and safety of citizens. This operation was successful, thank God. Afterwards, we intervened to extinguish the fires, and as you can see, the fire is now almost completely under control. Only a few areas remain to be extinguished, after which we will conduct a full assessment of the damage, particularly to vegetation.
Prime Minister Sefi Gharieb arrived in Tipaza on Thursday night to follow the firefighting efforts in the province's western municipalities. He visited Hajrat al-Nus, where he received a detailed briefing from Civil Protection Chief Colonel Boualam Boughalouf before heading to Musselmoon to inspect the remaining hotspots. Civil protection teams working with state services and army units have deployed major human and material resources, including firefighting aircraft, to contain the fires across the area. Interior and Transport Minister Said Sayoud inspected the fire damage in Hadjout in Tipaza and reviewed the reinforced firefighting efforts supported by civil protection units from 6 neighboring provinces. In a statement, the ministry said Sayoud commended local authorities for evacuating residents to safety and saluted the commitment of field teams still battling the flames. Moving on to a different news story now. Algeria is deepening its diplomatic and economic ties across Africa, driven by a firm belief in African solidarity. The nation is also actively working to help resolve regional crises on the continent, standing by its core principle of defending African unity, sovereignty, and integration. Marabila reports.
Algeria is deepening its African diplomacy, staying true to its historic principles and its belief in African-led solutions. The country is expanding its engagement across the continent with a focus on security, peace, and development. This approach is clear in Libya, where Algeria, Tunisia, and Egypt have revived the Libyan neighbors format, backing Libyan-led efforts to rebuild institutions and reach lasting stability free of foreign interference. Algeria is applying the same logic to Sudan's escalating conflict. Meeting in Algiers, Presidents Abdelmajid Tebboune and Hassan Sheikh Mohamud underscored the need to preserve Sudan's sovereignty and territorial unity. Algeria also continues to press for decolonization in Western Sahara, Africa's last colony, insisting on the Sahrawi people's UN-recognized right to self-determination. Security cooperation is growing as well. Zimbabwe's defense minister signed new military agreements during a recent visit to Algiers, while Algeria's army chief of staff strengthened ties during a trip to Rwanda, expanding defense partnerships across the continent. On the economic front, Algeria is pushing for stronger African integration. At the Intra-African Trade Fair in Algiers, officials highlighted the need for African industries to work together and build resilience in a competitive global economy. That momentum is reinforced by new bilateral agreements with Somalia, Mozambique, Rwanda, and other African partners. As geopolitical shifts reshape the region and the world, Algeria's strategy based on cooperation and continental unity is emerging as a model for growth and stability, aiming a more connected, more independent, and more prosperous Africa.
And in the Gaza file tonight, a Palestinian woman was killed by Zionist occupation drone fire Friday morning in the Atatra area, northwest of Gaza Strip. The Al-Shifa Medical Complex confirmed the death, stating that the attack targeted Palestinians in the area. Russia submitted a draft UN resolution on Gaza Thursday, drawing on the U.S. draft as a basis. The proposal aims to help the Security Council adopt a balanced, unified approach to achieving a sustainable ceasefire. According to Reuters, the draft asks the UN Secretary General to explore options for an international stabilization force in Gaza, without referencing the U.S. proposed Peace Council for the transitional period. UNRWA Commissioner General Philip Lazzarini said 2 years of war in Gaza have caused immense human suffering and psychological trauma. Speaking at a UN headquarters in New York, he warned that millions of Palestinian refugees could lose access to essential services unless the agency receives significant new funding, citing a major financial shortfall. Gaza residents are entering their third winter in tents without proper shelter, warm clothes or blankets, living daily in fear after 2 years of war. Nabil Khazini has more.
As winter winds begin to move through Gaza, they bring a cold that reaches far deeper than the air. Across the strip, families shelter under broken roofs and torn tarps, trying to stay warm in places that feel nothing like home. Though the sky above is calmer, the ground beneath them still carries the weight of all they have endured. Palestinians now face another winter with little more than their courage to hold on to.
When the rainfall came in, the water started pouring in on us from the street. because we're in low-lying areas, and the whole camp in general is a low area, all paved. The camp was negatively affected by the rainfall. How are we supposed to cope? If in just one day, 2 hours, it was only by God's mercy on us, then what will happen if a second weather depression like this comes in our way?
Official estimates say that around 93% of all displacement tents were no longer suitable for living. The United Nations said that the occupation has rejected 23 humanitarian aid requests since the Gaza ceasefire began, leaving vital relief supplies stalled at the borders, while needs inside the enclave continue to grow. The UN also warns of a deepening humanitarian emergency, with winter storms destroying hundreds of tents and temporary shelters.
Our humanitarian colleagues report from there that sadly hundreds of tents and makeshift shelters were flooded due to today's intense rains that had a harsh impact on people across Gaza. We fear that thousands of displaced families are now left fully exposed to the harsh weather elements, increased by health and protection concerns.
As winter is approaching, the challenges for people in Gaza grow heavier than the cold itself. Families who have already lost so much now brace for a season that offers little relief and even fewer resources.
Shifting focus to the war in Sudan, the Human Rights Council unanimously approved the resolution to set up an independent fact-finding mission on atrocities in Al-Fashir, North Darfur. During Friday's emergency session, members said the mission will also work to identify and hold accountable those responsible for violations by the Rapid Support Forces and their allies. The UN's Humanitarian Office, OCHA, reports that atrocities committed by the Rapid Support Forces against civilians in Al-Fashir are even more severe than previously documented. Meanwhile, the UN's High Commissioner for Human Rights, Volker Turk, told an emergency session that the violence in Al-Fashir was both predictable and preventable. He stated that all international appeals to stop it have been ignored.
There have been mass killings of civilians, ethnically targeted executions, sexual violence including gang rape, abductions for ransom, widespread arbitrary detentions, attacks on health facilities, medical staff and humanitarian workers, and other appalling atrocities. This is a pattern that we have documented time and again in this conflict. But our wake-up calls were not heeded. Bloodstains on the ground in Al-Fashir have been photographed from space. The stain on the record of the international community is less visible, but no less damaging.
Sudan's government described the ongoing conflict as an existential war aimed at erasing the country's communities and replacing them with foreign elements. At the UN Human Rights Council, Sudan's representative Hassan Hamid Hassan called the attacks in Al-Fashir ethnic cleansing and systematic genocide backed by external forces, saying repeated international appeals for action have gone unanswered.
What is happening in Sudan is an existential war aimed at exterminating specific communities and replacing them with others, nothing less, nothing else. You have seen how the killing in Al-Fashir was and continues to be carried out on the basis of ethnicity and even skin color against particular population groups. What is genocide, if not this?
Algeria has strongly condemned the atrocities committed by the Rapid Support Forces in their assault on Al-Fashir in Sudan. At the Human Rights Council in Geneva, a member of the Algerian UN mission, Celia Alwani-Arous, denounced the serious violations against civilians. She also pointed to the support the RSF receives from external actors.
My country strongly condemns the atrocities committed by the Rapid Support Forces during their assault on Al-Fashir, following more than 18 months of an inhuman siege marked by starvation, suffering and despair. Reports of ethnically motivated killings, torture, summary executions and sadistic sexual and gender-based violence are horrifying. Equally shocking are the videos of the RSF commanders calling on militiamen to rape women in North Darfur.
The Algerian UN mission official in Geneva said foreign interventions are fueling Sudan's conflict, emphasizing Algeria's commitment to the country's sovereignty and territorial integrity, and its support for a sustainable peace led by Sudanese authorities.
We condemn in the most stronger possible terms all external interferences that continue to fuel the conflict in Sudan. We echo the AUPSC's call. The RSF and their enablers must be held accountable. We also condemn the establishment of a parallel government authority in areas under RSF control. My country reaffirms its commitment to the sovereignty, unity and territorial integrity of Sudan.
Sudan's Transitional Sovereign Council head Abdel Fattah al-Burhan announced a general mobilization calling on all capable Sudanese to join the fight. During a visit to As-Sariha in Al-Jazeera state on Friday, he rejected any truce with the Rapid Support Forces unless they disarm, saying the blood of the martyrs will not be shed in vain.
They killed them, looted them, and brutalized them. They will see from us nothing but what makes them taste this suffering. This is the right of the martyrs who died in this area and in other regions of Sudan. And there are still martyrs in Al-Fashir and elsewhere. We have pledged that there will be no peace with the rebels. And to anyone who wants to mediate between us, we say, if you do not lay down your weapons, we will not accept you with us in Sudan.
Turning to other news, Madrid is set to host large demonstrations Saturday marking the 50th anniversary of the Madrid Accords, which denied the Sahrawi people their right to self-determination. The protests, organized by Sahrawi support groups, are expected to draw thousands of Sahrawis in Spain, alongside Spanish and international supporters. On Friday, these groups held an information day in the city to highlight the need to decolonize Western Sahara. Eric Hagen, head of the International Observatory for Monitoring Western Sahara's Resources, urged the EU to respect international law and human rights in the territory, warning investors against projects there. Speaking to the Algerian press agency on Friday, he noted that the European Court of Justice ruled EU-Morocco fisheries agreements illegal for including Western Sahara's resources without Sahrawi consent, and cautioned against reopening such deals.
The International Observatory reiterated its call for all investors not to become involved in projects in the occupied part of Western Sahara. We remind them of the recent rulings issued by the European Court of Justice, which affirmed that Western Sahara and Morocco are separate and distinct territories. We welcome the decision of the accreditation body LSQA, which includes the Technological Laboratory of Uruguay and Austrian Quality Company, to halt all its activities in Western Sahara. The body previously granted certifications to Moroccan procedures to Moroccan producers operating in the occupied territory. We also call on Global GAP, the leading global authority in agricultural certification, to follow the same path.
Shabassini, Secretary General for the National Union of the Sahrawi Women, said climate justice cannot be achieved while Morocco occupies Sahrawi lands and exploits their resources. Speaking at a climate forum in Brazil, she emphasized that protecting the earth is inseparable from safeguarding human dignity and the right to self-determination.
The occupation that plunders our natural resources and destroys our environment is the same occupation that deprives our people of their right to self-determination. The looting of Sahrawi natural resources, carried out with the complicity of some foreign companies and without the consent of the Polisario Front, is a crime against the Sahrawi people, who are the sole owners of those resources. The European Court of Justice has made it clear in its repeated rulings that Western Sahara is a territory distinct from the Kingdom of Morocco, and that any agreement involving the territory or its territorial waters without the consent of the Polisario Front is illegal. The Polisario Front remains open to serious negotiations under the auspices of the United Nations to achieve a peaceful solution that guarantees the Sahrawi people's right to self-determination.
And that's the end of our news program for tonight. To catch up on any part you missed or to get the latest updates, you can always visit our social media platforms as well as our website. On behalf of All 24 News team, I'm Islam Sid signing off. Take care.